You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, me and Pat are going to talk about Billy Donovan's job security, because when you look around the NBA, there's a lot of coaches that technically have done better than Billy Donovan that are out of jobs. But we're talking about that a little bit. We'll also be talking about the draft lottery and can the Bulls get a little luck on lottery night. And then lastly, DeMar DeRozan announces a new book. We're going to get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Pat, Darvin Ham, Frank Vogel, two coaches that were recently fired. The Phoenix Suns have already moved on to getting Mike Budenholzer, who was basically the same guy. They just hired the same guy.
A little fatter.
This is true. But that has brought about questions from the Bulls fan base on why does Billy Donovan have the job security that he does, considering that we've seen coaches in Darvin Ham, Frank Vogel, Adrian Griffin earlier in the season, all these guys fired who have, they have better rosters, but had more success if we're looking at record-wise. What do you think when you hear that, Pat?
Because the Bulls haven't gotten into the instant results era of basketball, at least recently. Ever. Right? Like this has not been a franchise that is big on instant results. They're big on let's grow this thing, let's build it out, which I don't think is the wrong way to do something. I do think that maybe with Billy Donovan, this has run its course 100%. I'm not sitting here telling you that I need to see Billy Donovan back next season, and I'm dying to see him out there running poor out of bounds plays. But the teams who I guess maybe they're afforded a little bit more of a luxury as well, right? Because they're afforded a little bit more pressure, I should say, for those other teams, because right, like you look at the other teams, you do needed to work right away because you went all in on Kevin Durant, so you have more pressure on having a coach hit right away, right? You double down on Bradley Beal. That salary cap is thrashed, you know what I'm saying? When you look at the Lakers, right, there's the time limit on LeBron James left being with that team. That means that you have to get things right now. And a lot of the teams that move on from coaches that fire players or that fire coaches have players in place already who are, star to superstar level players. They want to get this thing right pretty quickly. Now, is that the right way to do it? Is that the right way to go about it? I don't know. I think sometimes teams get stuck in making change for change's sake, and that is the one thing I don't want to see the Chicago Bulls do. I don't want you to fire 100%. Billy Donovan and go get Nick Nurse. I don't want you to fire Billy Donovan and go get Frank Vogel, Mike Budenholzer. They're coaches who, if you have the perfect players for their schemes, you can win with them and they can work. But the players that you need for those schemes are top 5 players in the NBA. We don't have that here, so I'm not that I want to see Billy back, but I'm not upset at how the Bulls have gone about holding on to Billy Donovan with what's out there. This to me isn't a flu situation where I'm like, but Bill Belichick's out there.
Well, Bill Belichick didn't want to come here, but the Billy thing is a thing because I try to be fair. Outside of my meathead times, I try to be fair and look at it like
it's crazy.
Billy Donovan has had an incomplete roster every year that he's been here. An incomplete roster, and not just the fact that it's had like small things missing. Like, if you have a roster that has everything else, but you just lack 3-point shooting, all right, you could kind of figure it out. We're talking about we've been thin at the big man position literally since he came here. Keep in mind his second year here, because the first year was the year after we drafted P. Will, but Tony Bradley was our backup center.
He got picked up by another man.
Yeah. He was our backup center. So we've just been very thin at that position. No real rim protection, no 3-point shooting, tons of injuries all up and down. And so I get it that those things have happened. And I think until the AK feels like, okay, this roster is in a place where I believe that this roster, not necessarily saying it has to be a championship roster, but to where he looks at this roster and says, hey, man, it can't be these guys. It got to be Billy Donovan. And I think that whether you look at that as a positive or negative, that is probably what it's going to take for Billy Donovan to get out of here if he doesn't move on to the front office.
And I think that's my thing. That's what I've always said, right? What coach comes in here and fixes this short of Eric Spoelstra?
You find the next great Eric Spoelstra. I mean, listen, there's coaches out here that can get better out of this. I don't want to make it seem like it's that. There are coaches that can get better out of this roster, but it's probably minuscule. You get 5 extra wins.
I'd say 5 extra wins would be a lot. But I'd say 5 extra wins was at 43.
Yeah, but then in the sense I mean that so you avoided the play-in, but you're still a first round exit.
Probably no, but I think here's the thing too, right? Like this to me is not a I guess there's a couple of coaches that you could get the most out of, but realistically speaking, you're not sitting there looking at the litter of candidates that was out there and you're going, I have to have this, right? The one coach that I would have said, if you're going to take a chance on, which we knew AK never would have been Ime Udoka, right? That would have been the guy that I'd be like, listen, I know what he can do. I know how he can get the most out of his players, maybe hide the women in the building and you do what you do. I mean,
the funny thing is that remember he was a finalist before Billy Donovan came available and then they
I know. I wanted him. Yeah. He's the one coach I wanted. He was the one name. I think it was him, Becky Hammond. I want to say Adrian. I think Adrian Griffin was on that. I absolutely didn't want.
I don't remember if Adrian. I won't even act like if I remember. If
I think Adrian. Only reason I remember is because I was so adamant. I remember the first video I put out when Billy Donovan got fired. I ran upstairs to capitalize on the I was still getting the breeze together, and I literally was like, "Do not hire Billy Donovan." This man has had 9 stars.
That's funny.
And he has won nothing with none of them. Do not hire him. I think 6 hours later he was hired. I was you son of a... You know what I mean? Like AK was on the plane watching my video on the way to Billy Donovan. I think I'm gonna hire him.
I'm gonna hire him.
It's just I think that with the roster that we currently have, the biggest problem is roster construction. Does Billy Donovan have some faults? For sure. Do you have to coach what you have there? Yeah, but we get beat in so many ways that I have a tough time a lot of times blaming Billy as much as most people do, because we're last in 3-point attempts, we're middle of the pack in shooting in the mid-range, and we're at the bottom of the NBA in attacking the rim. There's no other way to generate offense on the floor unless we just throwing up 40-foot floaters all day. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where else you're gonna score on the floor. So I look at the roster that you have and say, well, I don't know how you improve upon the 3-point shooting and attacking in the paint with the team that we have right now. But maybe you could try. And I think the maybe you could try is where I look at Billy more than the actual production on the floor all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I look at some things that to me are damn sure coaching wise, like the fact that the teams feel so comfortable not moving without the ball.
It is crazy.
That's this literally something that you can go and watch any AAU team, any solid high school team, and you'll see more movement off the ball than what the Bulls do. It's really mind-boggling, bro.
Yeah.
I understand it. How a professional team just says, "Hey, we're not good. We're not going to move. We'll see you there." But hey, it is what it is, man.
The Phoenix Suns, which is why they fired their coach, why they fired Frank Vogel, which is why they. They're trying to find something else, and the answer is Mike Budenholzer. That's gross. I'm not gonna lie to you. I will say this.
It's that type of thing that lets me know Billy Donovan, unless he does move into the front, he's never going to have a lack of jobs.
No, he will always have a job.
Billy Donovan, Budenholzer, Frank Vogel, Doc Rivers, all the same person with slight different cues.
Billy's
the same person.
Billy's next team is going to be like the Magic.
I can see that happen.
Yeah, I mean, because he wanted to be
that was supposed to be his first NBA team. Remember, he accepted the Magic job.
Oh,
and decided to go back to college.
Actually, maybe not then, maybe not. But no, I don't know, bro. Like, it's just funny to me, like when I look at a lot of the coaching jobs out there and how you swap these things around, and it's just like there's a part of me that's like, if Mike Budenholzer coaches the Phoenix Suns, how he coached the Atlanta Hawks back when he was skinny, this team may be successful.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that he will change his philosophy that much to go back, because he's been in this new philosophy so long dealing with Giannis. I think this is just going to literally be give D Book the ball, give Kevin Durant the ball, let them go to work and get the heck out of the way, which is what they were running, and it didn't work. For the love of God, somebody try to put together a defense up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, man, next up, though, we're talking about the draft lottery. Maybe the Bulls can get some defense in that lottery, specifically at the big man position, but we'll talk about that. Before we get into that, though, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more than or less than 2 or more players' stats and watch the winnings roll in. March is over, but the biggest moments in college basketball tip off. Whoa, no. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks. As you or the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, and college basketball entries today on PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with PrizePicks. I also got to talk to you guys about another one of our sponsors, and that is eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your marriage alive or your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to its peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your #1 ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers.
eBay saving marriages out here.
Yeah, listen, it says it right there. Passion, drive, and patience. I'm telling you, it works. It works. I'm just saying. I'm trying to help y'all out here, man. Listen, you can say you got your marriage therapy and Bulls coverage all in the same spot, man. Me and Patty. But anyway, Pat, the draft lottery is going down Sunday, 2 p.m. Chicago time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll walk away from this knowing exactly where the Bulls are going to pick. Do you think the Bulls can get any luck in the lottery, Pat, or do you think we're going to end up staying in we can't move up to number 7? He's either going to be on the top 4 or number 11. I think the lowest we can fall is 14, I believe, depending on that would mean that every bit of all 4 of the lottery picks would have to be all taken by teams below us. But we'll see how that happens.
I don't know, man. Like, is there anybody from Chicago in this draft that's going at the top? You know what I mean? Like, is there any, you know what I mean? Do we need a little chicanery? Like, I don't think there's no Derrick Rose in this draft. I don't know. Listen, the ping pong balls fall how they fall. I'm doing air quotes for the podcast side. Yeah, I mean, like this is the NBA is better when the Bulls are good, but is there an infrastructure in place that's gonna, make a player good or select the right player? I think there's a couple of things that really are major question marks heading out of this draft on the other side. Are the Bulls going to get lucky? Maybe. And if they do, then okay, you got a top 4 pick. What are you going to do with it? It'd be great to see. It'd be fun to see. I'd be excited. I won't get bamboozled like I did when we got what was it? I think was it the draft, 2021 draft or 2022 draft, I think, where I forgot.
That was just last year, I think, when we thought that we moved in, because they did the damn pick stupidly.
It was last year where they opened it up, but it was like the Chicago Bulls logo, but it was to the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, it was like do it the opposite way. Like, what are you doing here? What are you doing?
Magic logo up there. You knew what it was, dog. I thought we got the pick. I was so excited.
Bro, and nobody was more excited than Matt. Bro, you got to go back and watch that episode. Matt and Dave, Matt lost his
I forgot about
bro.
that.
He was dancing around. Remember, he was doing like he really thought we had it, bro. It was crazy.
Bro, I was about to say AK pulled off a fleece. You know what I mean? Like, I was excited when that happened. And then we of course know what ends up happening and we get nothing from it. So listen, at least we know that there's none of that. If we see that Bulls logo in the top 4, that means we actually get a top 4 pick. So I'll be excited for that. But like, I don't know. I'm not confident in this front office anymore. I'm just not. And that makes all of the lottery, all of the draft lottery stuff, it's all like not. It's almost tainted to me. Like, it's like, oh my God, we got a top pick. They're probably going to screw it up. Or it's even like, we got a top pick in this draft. Of all the drafts for us to get a top pick in, we got it in the one where we're literally like, wow, I kind of don't want any of these guys.
Just a little bit, bro. The thing with this is that, how can I word this? Is that when you can have all the assets in the world, when you don't trust your front office to make the right decisions, it doesn't matter, right? Like, the Bulls can walk away with the number 1 pick in this draft. They better get Alexander Sarr. But if they do, like, it's still like, okay, like, even if you do get it right, I'm not necessarily giving you credit. Like, you got the number 1, like, you should get it right. Like, I don't know, man. Like, the faith in the front office, like I said, this is my last season to really, where I'm just gonna be positive about anything they do at all. So, like, hopefully this is a step in the right direction. So
that's the hope, man. I mean, the part that makes it tough though is like, you know, as you start going through these past drafts, since AK's been here, right? I mean, you started off with Patrick Williams. You're like, oh boy, you know what I mean? That's not a good look. Then the next draft, you didn't have a first round pick, I don't believe. I think we end up with Ayo Dosunmu in that. Oh, good player, good pick.
Player. Yeah, good pick.
Let's say one for one, all right? 1 for 1.
Yeah.
We haven't picked a good player since.
Yeah, they haven't been good yet, but I get what you're saying.
I mean, what are we talking about? Dalen Terry and
Julian Phillips.
And Julian Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
I mean, Julian was, bro. Julian was starting to look like he was going to be rounding it out. Like, but you know, it is what it is. We'll see. So
I don't know. I live in this world of, if at this point you've struck out on 3 of the 4, and it's not just that you've struck out, but you've struck out and there's pieces after that have come out. Now the Julian Phillips one is
that's the thing that shines the most. Like Dalen Terry, Walker Kessler.
Right after.
We did good with the Ayo pick. Julian, we had to trade into that to get it because we technically didn't have any picks in that draft.
I'm fine with the Julian one. I mean,
yeah. It's too early to tell for sure, right? Like,
but when you look at the Patrick Williams draft and you see
Tyrese Halliburton was there. That was the Tyrese Halliburton.
Three stars in there, right? Halliburton was in that draft. Maxey was in that draft. And I want to say there's one more that was in there as well. That we missed out. Maybe not star level players, stuff like that, but like, but you missed out on those too. And then right after, a massive need that we head into the offseason talking about as far as the big man position, you select Dalen Terry. And not to say I don't like Dalen. I hope that Dalen turns into something. But I watched Walker be great.
Basically right away.
If Walker Kessler wasn't in Utah, Walker Kessler would be a household name in this league.
I don't know. That saying household is a little bit too much. He's already starting for them.
Well, I'm saying if he's in Chicago,
household? No, I don't think he's a household name. Not with the way the Chicago Bulls are playing. I can't say that.
Well, I think it changes a lot. Well, you also had Drum though. You're probably not playing him.
Well, so, no, we wouldn't have signed Drum. We wouldn't have signed Drum that offseason. That was the same offseason we signed Drum.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. They not putting no veteran below a rookie. Yeah, I mean, they'd have signed Drum. Kessler would have just been there. At 18,
I don't know, bro. And the only reason I say that is because we've seen the times where Billy Donovan does play rookies is when they have an absolute need. And what the Bulls needed then was rebounding and shot blocking. I could absolutely see Billy Donovan playing Walker Kessler right away.
Billy Donovan wouldn't play Tony Bradley when they needed rebounding and shot blocking.
Because he sucked. Like, he didn't do it. Like, what are we talking about? He didn't do it.
Hey, listen. Neither did nobody else. We had nothing. At least put the tall guy out there.
At least Derrick Jones Jr. had a pick and roll rhythm going on with Lonzo at that point in time. Tony Bradley couldn't do nothing.
I don't know, bro. Like, I still remember Dalen Terry being the least played 18th overall pick of all time when we were literally just like, he looked like he got energy and will play defense. And all we need is just a little bit of energy.
The problem is that it wasn't controlled. Dalen Terry would
it still isn't. It still isn't.
He would have fouled out of 3 out of 4 games, bro. It's like he fouled out. How many minutes did he play, though? 8.5.
8.5 total games out of all 4. I don't know, man. Like I think that's the other thing too, right? It's the philosophy, right? Like I would love to see the Bulls go out and get, if they end up getting somebody later in the draft, Kyle Filipowski or something like that. You know what I mean? Like where you're like, okay, I can see how he impacts the team, but like, is he gonna play? I don't know. We took Julian Phillips, like maybe we could fix some 3-and-D because it's absolutely what we need on the floor. He looked like he was actually starting to get a little bit of rhythm. Then we didn't see him play for 3 games.
Yeah, because he got hurt.
No, we didn't see him play for 3 games. Then he played again. Then he got hurt. Then he didn't play again.
No, because he has the injury that set him out.
I remember,
but he had something before then that they didn't think was major. So when he had those games, I think it was like a 3-game stretch. I believe you're right, where he played like double-digit minutes and then he didn't play for like a game or 2. It was because we ended up finding out it was because of the injury. They just didn't think that he was going to be out for a while. So
I ain't buying it.
Listen, the one thing that I do buy with this team is that there's a lot of injuries we don't know about. That's the one thing I do buy about.
Yeah, this is true.
Like, for all we know, Tanaka's still back. They're like, just put some tape on it. We all right.
Tanaka's in the back. Tanaka's in the back. Keep Jeff Tanaka away from the sky. That's all I care about.
Please do. Please keep him away.
Ain't he on the staff again? No, he's like, he's with, right? He's with who?
He's like the head athletic person at like Northwestern University.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's like teaching people to like be doctors or athletic. I think
he's the head of the sports medicine department. I don't think he's teaching people. He's hiring the people that teaches people.
Is he scary? I don't know if I trust that either. Be careful out there, boys. Hey, man, before we get to this final topic where we got to sit here and talk about DeMar DeRozan dropping a new book. Shout out to DeMar DeRozan, man. Wonder if he actually wrote this out himself or if he had somebody else handle that for him. But before we get into all that, we do got to tell you guys all about Monopoly Go, which I had an ad read up here, and now I do not. So give me a second as I tell you guys all about this very competitive, very compelling game that is Monopoly Go, because I'm a very competitive person. And right now, I mean, listen, it's game off. We got to pause here to talk about more Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. That's going to be a tech, but there's just so much good stuff about this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends or for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's board. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get. Unique stickers, cool new playing pieces, hilarious emojis, all that and more in this game. Plus, Monopoly Go feels like new and exciting. It feels new and exciting with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like Digging for Treasure and Robot Pachinko Machine. And there's always new timed events to help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on the Google Play or App Store. Game on. I just figured it out why the Monopoly Go ad read throws me off every time. It's the exclamation point after go.
That actually makes sense.
I'm sitting there like reading like how punctuation should work, and I'm like, why am I screaming go so loud every time? Like, what's going on?
I got you.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, Pat, before we get up out of here, man, DeMar DeRozan announces a new book called Above the Noise. It's going to be talking about his mental health journey, things like that. Me and you are two big advocates of mental health. And talking about it, right? Not outside of, having BetterHelp sometimes here as a sponsor. We we are both big advocates for it. How do you feel about this?
I mean, listen, I think it's something that people need because I'm a big believer that stuff transcends just what you're utilizing it for. So yeah, I mean, listen, you utilizing this in the sports sense, hearing DeMar's story about how this works as far as being an athlete and stuff like that is great. But a lot of times this is the type of stuff that you can apply to your own personal life, that you can apply to whatever it is you're doing. I know I used to, like, my thing at work when I was an electrician was I would listen to people that had these success stories because I wanted to take pieces of it and use it to help further my own story. I'd listen to Damon John's book. I'd listen to, like Stephen A's book is one that I quote often, and it's the reason that I didn't end up giving up on all of this. Like there's so many things that you can take from somebody who's, no matter what the end result is, so many people only focus on the end result, which is he's a millionaire. He's probably been through, countless things that you can take in your life and that he had to navigate to help you get through. So I love the fact that he's being open and honest about this. And I just hope that I'm gonna definitely give it a read. I just hope there's nothing in here that like somebody gonna use against them on the court. Cause it's some, if we get into some heated stuff, it's some trash talk come out. I don't
think that I don't. First of all, most of these NBA players don't read.
Let Draymond. Well, Draymond, yeah, you just made your point.
That's all I'm saying. Like, now, if there's an audiobook version, maybe.
Oh, there's gonna be an audiobook. I fully meant I was gonna get the audiobook. I don't want y'all to think I'm out of here.
I don't do audiobooks. I'm old school. I gotta have the book in my hand.
Really?
As much you would think that somebody who's a podcaster, and I listen to a bunch of podcasts, would be able to do audiobooks. Never been able to do audiobooks. I gotta have.
You know why the audiobooks work for me? Except the Damon John one is the only one that kind of threw me off because he has Sway read his book because he's got dyslexia. So he was
Sway.
Yes, it's amazing.
Sway?
It's amazing. Sway in the morning. Yes,
crazy.
So
bro.
he had Sway read his book, but there's you to me you get the emotion of the person in there. You know what I'm saying? Like when you listen to the audio, if they read their own book. So like when I listened to 50's book, 50 was like, all right, hold on. We're going to stop the book here right now. And I'm going to tell y'all exactly what was going through my mind in these moments. You get so much that you don't get in the book. So that's why I rock with the audiobooks. But I feel you on reading it.
Yeah. I got to read it. That's just me. I'm weird like that. But I definitely will be ordering.
It's not weird. Reading is weird now.
Bro, some people do not read. Like, bro, like I remember I was sitting there reading a book, an actual book. I was at like a coffee shop or something. And like legit, you would have thought I was sitting in there looking at a Playboy article just proudly, bro. They were like, "Got books?"
They were more stunned to sit in their mind. That was about to be a very non-locked on joke.
Yep. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We started to go down the non-locked on path. Let's start to wrap this thing on up.
Well, get your thoughts on the book first.
I'm excited about the book. I think that it's really good that DeMar DeRozan speaks so openly about mental health and his mental health journey. That's one of the things that you can't knock DeMar DeRozan for. He's talked about it several times, right, on several podcasts, things like that. And so I think it is good that people see somebody that, does have a lot, like, millionaire. Has he ever been able to win an NBA title? No. Really, that's the only knock on DeMar DeRozan as a person not even as a person, that's as a player.
As an athlete,
outside the side babies, like that's really about it. So, I
forgot about them.
You see,
it's so funny because that did happen. Because I remember because nothing ever came out about it.
They just keep it pushing.
Bro, but keep it pushing. I remember we was live calling the game. I was sitting there and I was like, 1, 2, 3. Who is that? like I know these buzz personally, but I knew how many kids DeMar had. I was like, oh, she had a baby that really don't look like her. She had wait, what's going on here? But
just pop it up.
Hey man, shout out DeMar, shout out Tim Anderson. I appreciate y'all tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Watch out for the sides. I don't know.
See, we can say that DeMar's the reverse Drake because he actually still takes care of his side babies and they just pop up on the screens. We didn't have to be exposed for them. But you guys follow me at CEO Haize. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube for Pat the Designer. This has been Locked On Bulls, man. We out here. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Said it was an information plant, though. Planted the information. HBCU's finna have a field day with not like